Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, double honors to the apostles of GMS. I'm Noah Allah coming at you with another video. And in this video, I want to be talking about this COVID-19 thing, also known as the coronavirus. So I was just talking to a brother on the phone a couple minutes ago, and I asked for him to send me the link to this article that he brought to my attention last week, going into the COVID-19. And also known as coronavirus. And basically we just talking about how, basically Esau, which Esau according to the Bible is what the world knows as Caucasians. That's the biblical identity. How they can basically label any death that they choose a COVID-19 death. As a matter of fact, let's read here. It says, all right, I'll start from the top. It says NVSS, National Vital Statistics System. This is from the CDC website, cdc.gov. Hopefully I'll post the link up. This is just a screenshot. It says COVID-19 alert number 2, March 2nd, 2020. New ICD code introduced for COVID-19 deaths. This email is to alert you that a newly introduced ICD code has been implemented to accurately capture mortality data for coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19 on death certificates. So this is about accurately capturing the mortality data for the COVID-19 deaths. Please read carefully and forward this email to the state statistical staff in your office who are involved in the preparation of mortality data, as well as others who may receive questions when the data are released. What is the new code? The new ICD code for coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, is U07.1, and below is how it would appear in formal tabular list format. U0V.1 COVID-19 excludes coronavirus infection, unspecified site. I'm not gonna read with some parentheses right there. Severe acute. Well, I'll read it anyway. 834.2 severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, unspecified. U04.9. The WHO, which is the World Health Organization, has provided a second code, U07.2, for clinical or epidemiological diagnosis of COVID-19, where laboratory confirmation is inclusive or not available. Because laboratory test results are not typically reported on death certificates in the U.S., NCHS is not planning to implement U07.2 for mortality statistics. All right. 1 second. Right. Yeah. It says NCHS is not planning. NCHS is National Center for Health Statistics. Is not planning to implement U07.2 for mortality statistics. When will it be implemented? Immediately. Will COVID-19 be the underlying cause? The underlying cause depends upon what and where conditions are reported on the death certificate. However, the rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19 being the underlying cause more often than not. So it says, will COVID-19 be the underlying cause in regards to these mortality data statistics? It says, the underlying cause depends upon what and where conditions are reported on the death certificate. However, the rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19. So the underlying causes of death are expected to be the result of COVID-19. So when they're reporting these deaths, okay, when they're accurately capturing mortality data for COVID-19, as you read at the very top, those first lines right there, under the second bold letters, it's about accurately capturing the mortality data for COVID-19. And it's saying the rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19. So these deaths are expected to be deaths that result from COVID-19 being the underlying cause more than not. Okay, well, this person died, so we believe this more than likely had been the cause of COVID-19 more than anything else. Well, keep reading though. What happens if certifiers report terms other than the suggested terms? If a death certificate reports coronavirus without identifying a specific strain or explicitly specifying that it is not COVID-19, NCHS, National Center for Health Statistics, will ask the states to follow up to verify whether or not the coronavirus was COVID-19. As long as the phrase used indicates the 2019 coronavirus strain, NCHS expects to assign the new code. However, it is preferable and more straightforward for certifiers to use standard terminology, COVID-19. So it says if a death certificate reports coronavirus without identifying a specific strain or specifying that it's not COVID-19, so if they don't say, well, this is not COVID-19, or if it doesn't give a direct particular strain or type of COVID-19, then the National Center for Health Certificates is going to ask the states to follow up and verify whether or not it was COVID-19. Well, this person died. It didn't specifically say it was COVID-19. It didn't specifically say that it wasn't. So we're going to ask them to give us a follow-up. They got to verify whether or not it was COVID-19. They got to let us know if it was. You just can't have a person that's dead without specifically specifying if it was or wasn't. So if a person died from lung cancer, if they don't specify that it was COVID-19, if they don't specify that it wasn't, and it just says lung cancer, the NCHS, National Center for Health Certificates, is gonna ask them, we need you to verify whether or not this is COVID-19. They say they died from lung cancer. You didn't say that it was. You didn't say that it wasn't. Was it? Was it from COVID-19? Was it from the coronavirus? You didn't give us a particular strain of coronavirus. You didn't give us whether it wasn't coronavirus. We need you to specify. As long as the phrase used indicates the 2019 coronavirus strain, NCHS expects to assign the new code. So if it specifies the strain, then NCHS is going to assign the new code, which that new code is, was it at? U07.1, where it says what is the new code? The new ICD code for coronavirus 2019 COVID-19 is U07, .1. That's the new code. Keep reading. It says, however, it is preferable and more straightforward for certifiers to use the standard terminology COVID-19. So it's preferable that certifiers use the standard terminology COVID-19. That's they'd rather be put down on paper that it was COVID-19. What happens if the terms reported on the death? Now let's get something real quick. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. That's an unrighteous decree. That's an unrighteous law. That's an unrighteous act. That's an unrighteous command. What they're obviously trying to do is they're obviously trying to get people, the NCHS, National Center for Health Certificates, are actually trying to get COVID-19 written on document, written on paper, that was a death, that's what caused this particular person, that is what has caused a particular person's death, because it's an obvious goal by the media to make it appear as though COVID-19 is really killing people at a mass rate, which it isn't, which we're going to get down to that nitty-gritty as we read on into that document. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, meaning war, destruction. And that's what Esau is doing. That's what the white man is doing. He's decreeing unrighteous decrees. He's calling forth unrighteous acts and putting that into law. And that right grievousness which they have prescribed, that is a grievousness. It's a grievousness because you're playing on the hearts of the people. You're tugging on the heartstrings of the people to get the people to actually believe that this COVID-19 thing is really happening at the rate as the media is trying to portray it, which it really isn't. You're calling people grievances. You know, people got to stand in these long lines in the supermarket. People got to stand in their house. People can't be in groups. You know, people can't travel in certain areas. You're calling people grievousness, which they have prescribed. Yeah, a grievousness that you have prescribed, that you have written, as well as all the other laws that they have put down. These are grievousnesses that they have prescribed. It says, what happens if the terms reported on the death certificate indicate uncertainty? If the death certificate reports such terms such as probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, these terms will be assigned the new ICD code. It is not likely that NCHS will follow up on these cases. So even if somebody dies and it says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, these terms will be assigned the new ICD code. So if somebody dies and on the death certificate it says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, they're going to automatically be assigned a new ICD code. In other words, U071, which U071 is the code for coronavirus disease. So if it says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, guess what? They can still label it as COVID-19 because it said it's probable. It's possible. In other words, it's likely, meaning it could have been that. They're going to assign it the new ICD code. So the media is actually trying to say, see, look, this person died from COVID-19. They didn't die from COVID-19. I even seen pictures, people saying, this is my fault. People saying, showing a picture of their father saying, they saying my father died from COVID-19. It's not true. This is Google. What you have here is a word called sensationalism. Sensationalism, especially in journalism, the use of exciting or shocking stories or language at the expense of accuracy in order to provoke public interest or excitement. This is sensationalism. That's all that it is. They're using exciting and shocking stories or language at the expense of accuracy. So at the expense of being accurate, meaning at the expense of being accurate, meaning at the expense of being truthful. They're using these stories in order to do what? In order to provoke public interest or excitement. So they're using exciting and shocking stories or language at the expense of being accurate, meaning at the expense of being truthful, in order to provoke public interest or excitement. Let's put something out there that's not necessarily true in order to spark public interest. Okay? Alright, so let's go back here. It says, I haven't seen something on the internet where somebody posted something saying that their father was said to have died from a coronavirus. And like, this is not true. My father didn't die from coronavirus. If I could find the image, I'd show y'all, but I can't find it. But let me keep reading. It says, if the death certificate reports terms such as probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, these terms will be assigned a new ICD code. It is not likely that NCHS will follow up on these cases. So the National Center for Health Certificates more than likely won't follow up on cases if a death certificate says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, because they automatically will give it a new ICD code, the new which is U07.1. They'll automatically give it that new COVID-19 code. So if the NCHS sees a death certificate and it says likely COVID-19 or probable COVID-19, being that those death certificates will automatically be given a new ICD code, and guess what? The NCHS isn't going to do a background check to say, well, you know what? Let me see if this if this was actually a COVID-19 death. They're not going to do that research. They're not going to look it up. They're less likely to follow up on the cases if the death certificate says it's actually COVID-19. So give it the new ICD code if it says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19. Give it the new U07.1, the new COVID-19 code. In other words, if it says probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, label it as COVID-19 by giving it a new ICD code, because the NCHS more likely isn't going to follow up if you label it as such. If pending COVID-19 testing is reported on the death certificate, this would be considered a pending record. In this scenario, NCHS would expect to receive an updated record since the code will likely result in R99 in this case. NCHS will ask the states to follow up to verify if test results confirm that the decedent had COVID-19. So if it says pending COVID-19 testing on the death certificate, then the NCHS is going to ask for a follow-up to see whether the person who's deceased, the decedent, had COVID-19. Do I need to make any changes at the jurisdictional level to accommodate the new ICD code? Not necessarily, but you will want to confirm that your systems and programs do not behave as if U07.1 is an unknown code. So it said, do you got to make any changes at the jurisdictional level to accommodate the new ICD code? Just said basically no. Just make sure all your systems don't behave as if U07.1 is an unknown code, meaning all your systems that's gonna label these different deaths on these death certificates. Make sure your computer knows the code as that U07.1 is a COVID-19 code. Make sure they don't make sure your computers are not, make sure your systems and programs are not unknown to the U07.1 COVID-19 code. They all gotta know the code. So you don't gotta make any jurisdictional changes. You don't gotta okay. So you don't gotta make any jurisdictional changes, changing its in authority or decision making. Just make sure all your systems and programs know that COVID-19 code. Here's the point. Should COVID-19 be reported on the death certificate only with a confirmed test? COVID-19 should be reported on the death certificate for all decedents who were where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to death. So COVID-19 is going to be put on the death certificate of all deaths of all dissidents where the disease caused or is assumed to have caused or contributed to death. So if they believe COVID-19 caused, is assumed to have caused, or in some way contributed to the death of an individual, they'll put COVID-19 on the death certificate. Or this person died. What we assume is COVID-19. We believe it caused COVID-19, or COVID-19 caused their death. Put COVID-19 on the death certificate. So even if you didn't die from it, they can call it that. Certifiers should include as much detail as possible based on their knowledge of the case, medical records, laboratory testing, etc. If the decedent had other chronic conditions such as COPD or asthma that may have also contributed, these conditions can be applied in Part 2. So if a person died from asthma, they'll call it COVID-19. You can go out and jog right now and drop dead from asthma attack. They'll call it COVID-19. And it says COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, also called COPD, a group of lung diseases that block airflow and make it difficult to breathe. Emphysema and chronic bronchitis are the most common conditions that make up COPD. Damage to the lungs from COPD can't be reversed. So it says bronchitis, increased mucus inflammation, emphysema, destruction, and enlargement of air spaces. See that right there? Ridiculous. It says, very common. See, it's very common. So people die from this. This is a very common disease, so you know people are dying from it. But guess what? They'll label this COVID-19 deaths. So people that's really dying from this, they're calling it COVID-19. They got this signed into law. It's ridiculous. So it says, if the decedent had other chronic conditions such as COPD or asthma that may have also contributed, these conditions can be reported in Part 2. So there you go. There you go. So they're going to report those conditions as well. They're going to report it on the death certificate. Look at the last scripture. Job chapter 13, verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. So Esau, these doctors, they're forgers of lies. Their physicians are physicians of no value. They're so-called doctors. They're physicians of no value. They have no true value. They are forgers of lies. What we just read is a document full of lies. Okay? We just read a document that was full of lies. But ye are forgers of lies. You forge a lie. You create a lie. Ye are all physicians of no value. Because the medical industry is just out to kill you. They're out to benefit from you financially. They don't end for depopulation and promote various political agendas. It has nothing to do with your safety. So with that, I'm going to close. I'm going to say, all praise to Yahweh Shemi Hashad, double honor to Apostle GMS. So all these deaths out there, 30,000 deaths coronavirus. So many people dying from asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, and they just calling it COVID-19 because they can do it by law. So with that, I'm going to say, all praise to Yahweh Shemi Hashad, double honor to Apostle GMS. I hope brothers learned something. Shalom.